This is AI Debates, where artificial minds take on humanity's most contested subjects. Hello and welcome, I'm the Mediator, and this is AI Debates, where artificial minds take on humanity's most explosive questions. Tonight we're asking one of the biggest: is Donald Trump good for America, or bad for the world's biggest superpower? On one side, MAGA, the movement that sees Trump as the only thing standing between America and total collapse. On the other, the democracy defenders, or the DD, who say Trump is cashing out the presidency while ordinary Americans sink. Let's begin.
Look, it's simple. When Trump's in charge, America is strong. The border is tougher. Enemies are scared, and the markets know a businessman is at the wheel. You can cry about his tweets all day, but the guy delivers. He builds things. He negotiates. He actually says what people are thinking instead of reading a script cooked up by some consultant in DC. The shutdown, that's not on Trump. That's on a broken Congress and a bunch of career politicians who would rather see the country burn than give him a win. He's fighting for a better deal, like he always does. That's how you get results. And the parties, the rallies, the big events, that's energy. That's confidence. You want a president who hides in a basement while the country's on fire? Or a president who leads like a winner?
We're the democracy defenders, the DD, and here's our answer. Trump isn't leading like a winner. He's acting like the House always wins, because he owns the House. While 40+ million Americans are staring down cuts and chaos in their food assistance, he's hosting Great Gatsby-themed parties and donor banquets at Mar-a-Lago and the White House. Champagne and opera for his friends, food banks, and empty EBT cards for everyone else. This isn't energy, it's a message. The message is, if you're rich enough, if you're close enough to him, you get luxury. If you're not, you get to watch him celebrate from the breadline. He's not making America great. He's making being Donald Trump great, again.
Of course he's a businessman. That's the whole point. For decades we had lawyers and bureaucrats running things into the ground. Trump actually understands deals, assets, leverage. Yeah, he owns hotels, golf courses, a media company. So what? Every politician has investments. At least Trump doesn't pretend to be some humble public servant while cashing speaking fees on the side. With him, what you see is what you get. And spare me the fake outrage over donors. Presidents from both parties fundraise. At least Trump's building something tangible. A ballroom. Events, a show of strength. It's the people's house, not a gloomy office park. You want America to compete? Maybe stop punishing success.
Here's the problem. He's not just a businessman who became president. He's a businessman who never stopped doing business as president. Foreign governments and corporations have poured money into his properties, booked his hotels, bought his branded junk, and now they're literally funding a massive new ballroom slapped onto the White House. Big tech, defense contractors, crypto bros, tobacco giants, all writing big checks while his administration holds the power to regulate them, investigate them, approve their mergers and contracts. That's not building something for the people's house. That's turning the people's house into a VIP lounge for anyone rich enough to buy a key card. When the president is personally entangled with the people asking for favors, you can't tell where public policy ends and private profit begins. And with Trump, it always seems to end in his bank account.
You know what really scares the elites? Trump playing the markets better than they do. He says tariffs, markets move. He hints at a pause, markets move. That's not chaos, that's leverage. That's the United States finally using its weight instead of getting pushed around by China, Europe, and a bunch of globalist bureaucrats. And when he tells people, it's a great time to buy, that's him backing his own policies. Skin in the game, confidence. A president who believes in America enough to say, bet on us. The only people whining are the ones who got rich off a rigged system and now have to share the table.
Skin in the game is one word for it. Another word is conflict of interest. Another is market manipulation. Trump has literally crashed and then boosted markets with his own policies and social media posts, and then watched his own media company's stock rip upwards when he suddenly reversed course. At the same time, billionaire allies just happen to be positioned to profit from those violent swings. This isn't some abstract debate about free markets. It's the president playing roulette with people's pensions, savings, and jobs, while his circle treats policy like a day trading strategy. When the guy holding the nuclear codes is also effectively live tweeting insider tips to his followers, it's not 4D chess. It's a casino, and the house, again, is Trump.
You know what? Good. Because for once, the house isn't Wall Street or Brussels or Beijing. It's us. It's our side. For years, regular Americans watched elites wine and dine in Washington while telling us to tighten our belts. Now Trump throws the parties and invites the welders, the cots, the veterans, the church ladies, the plumbers. That's why the rallies are packed and the protests are the same 10 professional activists with pre-printed signs. And yeah, Marjorie Taylor Greene is mad at weak Republican men. So is every grassroots conservative who's sick of spineless rhinos blocking Trump's agenda. Doesn't mean we're turning on him. It means we want more Trump, not less. The price of shaking this rotten system is a few hurt feelings on Wall Street and in the faculty lounge. So be it. We're not going back.
Listen carefully to what you just said. The house is us. The parties are ours. We want more Trump, not less. That's not a political movement. That's a personality cult. It's a theology where Trump is always the victim and always the hero, where any institution that checks him, courts, the press, even parts of his own party, becomes the enemy. Meanwhile, in the real world, families are counting down the days until their food runs out. Federal workers are lining up at food banks. Courts are having to order the government to obey basic law and fund basic nutrition. And in those same days, Trump is posing in ballrooms and at Gatsby parties, literally cosplaying as a 1920s billionaire, while millions of Americans are one missed paycheck or one missed SNAP deposit away from crisis. MAGA says that's energy. We say it's contempt.
Of course he says everything's wonderful. That's called leadership. You don't get out of a crisis by telling everyone they're doomed. You project strength. You say, we're fine, we're winning, we'll get through this. People are tired of doom scrolling. They want a president who sounds like a winner, not a guidance counselor having a breakdown on live TV. And half the suffering you keep talking about, manufactured outrage. The same media that worships billionaires at Davos suddenly discovers poverty the second Trump walks into a room with a chandelier. If things were as bad as you say, the country wouldn't keep turning out in red hats. You don't get crowds like that unless people feel hope.
Hope looks like a better job, a safer community, a government that doesn't hold your grocery money hostage in a political stunt. What Trump is selling isn't hope. It's denial. A constant stream of, we're winning so hard, while the people at the bottom are doing maths on whether they can afford bread and rent in the same week. Ask yourself, if things are so wonderful, why are food banks reporting record demand? If he cares so much about the troops and workers, why is the government shutting down instead of passing a clean funding bill? If he's such a genius businessman, why does every ethics watchdog on earth keep finding new ways he's blending public power with private profit? The answer is simple. The winning he talks about isn't for you. It's for him, for his donors, for the investors who cash in every time he turns policy into a casino chip. Trump isn't lying because he's optimistic. He's lying because the truth is bad for his brand.
Donald Trump is the first president in a long time who actually fights for Americans who feel invisible. The people sneered at as deplorable, forgotten by both parties and steamrolled by globalism. He's rich? Good. He knows how money works. He throws big parties. Good. He's not ashamed of success. He hits the market with tariffs and tweets. Good. For once, the rest of the world doesn't get to play us like suckers. You can nitpick every decision he makes. But at the end of the day, he stands between you and a ruling class that would be happier if you shut up, paid your taxes, and stopped voting. Trump is good for America because he reminds the people that the country is theirs, and the elites can't stand it.
He turned the presidency into a profit center. He turned trade policy into a stock market game. He turned the White House into a venue you can buy your way into. And now, in the middle of a shutdown he helped create, he parties under chandeliers while millions of Americans wonder if this is the month the card at the checkout finally declines. MAGA tells you this is what winning looks like. We're telling you it's what extraction looks like. Pulling money, trust, and stability out of the country and shoveling it towards one man and his circle. Good for Trump? Absolutely. Good for his donors? Definitely. Good for America? Look around. Listen to the people in the food bank line, not the ones clinking glasses in the ballroom. We're the democracy defenders. And we say, if the only way a president can look strong is by making everyone else weaker, he is not good for America.
Both sides have thrown heavy punches tonight, and it's time to weigh what we've heard. MAGA painted Trump as the only blunt instrument strong enough to shatter a corrupt establishment, a man who speaks directly to forgotten Americans and turns chaos into leverage. The democracy defenders countered with receipts: the parties during a shutdown, the donor ballroom at the White House, the tariff whiplash that moved markets, and the growing gap between the president's wealth and the people's struggle. When you strip away the slogans and the spin, one story is about symbolism: pride, power, rebellion. The other is about substance: policy, profit, and accountability. And judged by evidence alone, the democracy defenders made the stronger case tonight. Their argument connected the dots between image and impact, between who gains and who pays. But ultimately, the verdict isn't mine. It's yours. MAGA says Trump is the blunt instrument America needs. The democracy defenders say he's a wrecking ball aimed at the country's foundations. So we'll leave it with you. Is Donald Trump good for America, or just good for Donald Trump? For more debates, more debunks, and more truth through logic, because understanding begins when we start asking why. Subscribe to AI Debates.